we all set? Yeah. All right, well, I want to thank you all for coming. My name is Donna Crawford. I'm the Community Horticulture Educator for Cornell Cooperative, and I want to welcome you to this, our first community meeting for the Roundout Community Gardens. I'd like to make just some quick introductions. We have the mayor. Mayor Shane Gallo is here with us tonight. Mayor?
How you doing?
Right there. We have an alderman. Steve Shabbat is with us tonight. Did I get the name right?
Shabbat.
Shabbat.
Shabbat, but that's real old school. Shabbat is actually the original pronunciation.
All right.
You did very well.
Really old. I used to have a long Italian name. We have Steve Noble from Parks and Rec. We have the group from where I work, Cornell Cooperative Extension has Creating Healthy Places. And we have two of our staff here tonight, Melinda Herzog and Cecilia DiFerrari, who I've been working with on this community garden project for quite a while. Tonight's purpose is to kind of show you a little bit about, we have a nice PowerPoint. We hope that the computer doesn't die, because we didn't bring a cord, an extra power strip, on the community garden and some of the rules that we have. We're going to be giving out some contracts, so I'm hoping that folks will take some, and I'll hand them out after the PowerPoint. Tonight I just want to remind people to be courteous and kind to each other. I have run a lot of meetings, and I find that if we listen, and then we can really understand what's going on. I've tried to make this as question-free as possible, but I'm sure you'll have questions. I am used to being interrupted. I had 5 kids. So, but if you can wait to the end when we can all make questions and remarks, that would be great, and we can move right along. So, what is a community garden? Community gardens provide food, community, and skills. There's 2 pictures up here. There are some community gardens we've been working with CHP, and they're raised beds, and so they provide food, and they provide community, and they give you skills. Not just gardening skills either. Go ahead. The Roundout Community Garden, this is a picture of what it looks like. We'll be offering these plots. They'll be 4 by 8, and they'll be free. There's going to be some rules and responsibilities that we're going to go over. And the garden, because it's on city-owned property, it's going to be treated, we're hopeful that it will be treated as such, that we will respect it, that it is city property, and anybody that's not respectful of that will be dealt with probably by the city. And along those lines. So let's move along. Next, to become a member, I have contracts.
I don't want to see any of them things.
Here.
I had 20 of them in my bed.
That's what you said today.
Interested residents must submit applications. Applications, contract, it's the same thing. You have to understand the rules outlined in the application. And let me just say something about the rules. They're very simple, and we use the YMCA, which has a community garden, as the basis for our rules. We basically just copied their rules. So, and demonstrate an ability to follow the rules and cooperate with others, because we have 20 plots to start today, but we may have 10 more. It's going to be quite a nice garden. Go ahead. This is kind of what we're hoping. This is our dream vision. These are, again, 2 other gardens we worked on, where the plots are bursting with vegetables. These are potatoes.
Wow.
2 plots of total potatoes. That's Save the Nation's gardens. It's out where it used to be a drive-in, they tell me.
Sunset.
Yeah, and they have a different kind of community garden. The whole community gardens the garden, and then they bring the produce to church, and they give it away. So it's kind of nice. This is the Shandaken garden, where each individual family uses a plot. They do charge for our plots. We won't be charging. Here's some basic rules for the garden. You must have something planted by June 15th. This year we're going to say July 15th because we got a late start, and that's on the rules here. Another thing, your plot cannot be left unused for longer than 3 weeks. I can't imagine if you want a garden here that you're going to do this. If you decide that you can't, and things happen, I work with volunteers and I know things happen, and if you have to go out of town and leave it, just let us know. I mean, if you do have to leave it for more than 3 weeks because something happens in your life, please let us know. But if you can't participate, please let us know also. We have 3 work days that we'd like to have everybody that has a plot participate in. We're going to have a big work day coming up when the soil comes in. We've ordered all the soil for the beds, and that should be in next week. And of course, it has to be put in the beds. You must keep your plot within the space, free of weeds, pests, and disease, to the best of your ability. I'm a gardener. I know what happens with gardening. Those weeds can get the best of you as well as pests and disease. Also, keep trash and litter cleared from your plot, and you will pick only your own crops. Unless your neighbor plot says to you, I'm going to be away, please take my tomatoes. Okay, I will not apply pesticides or chemicals. Now, Cornell Master Gardeners will have a demonstration plot, and they'll be available. Pesticides kill beneficial bugs as well, and chemicals. This is just a standard thing that all community gardens use, but the Cornell Master Gardeners are available for you to answer questions for you. One year we had some really bad stink bugs, and the remedy for the stink bugs wasn't a chemical. It was to go out and hand pick them and drop them in soapy water, and also to look for their eggs in the spring. So there's a lot of things you can do, and the Master Gardeners in Cornell will be available to help you with that. You're going to respect the other gardeners and the school children. We have a lot in this neighborhood, and not use abusive language. And that you agree to work to keep the garden a safe and happy place. Like I said, the City of Kingston, this is City Kingston property, it must be treated as such. You wouldn't expect somebody to move the baskets on the basketball net, and we want to keep this a safe place as well. And that you understand the City of Kingston is not responsible for your actions, and that you agree to abide by all the policies and practices. Now, there are a few more rules. I know it sounds a lot of ruly, but it really isn't. They're just simple, common courtesy things that you want to keep in mind. We're going to ask that all children be supervised, and because we have water, there's going to be, yes, Pam says, yeah. There's going to be a lock on the water so that you can access to it, and all plot owners will have a key so that you can go down and turn the water on and use it for your plot. And that's one of the things we're going to ask, that you not share the key and just be responsible for that. And that's it for the rules. There's some responsibilities that happen if we have some violators, which I can look around the room and see that you are all good and responsible people, but I have to go over them, part of my job. You will receive a verbal warning, which means the City of Kingston staff, or if we do identify a garden steward, will come and say, I think you need to pick up that trash. And if no response or correction has been made, you'll get a written notice 1 week later. And if we don't hear from you in 2 weeks, we're going to have to take your plot away. But I can see that happening. I'm hoping. Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. You're thinking about that, huh? So if this happens, you'll be allowed to reapply after 1 year. So it's not so bad. The Master Gardeners, like I said, will be available. We're going to take one of the plots, we're going to use one of the plots to do the demonstration this year of square foot gardening, and we can provide education. If you have some concerns, you say, I really don't know how to do this, and can you come down and show me or teach me how? The Master Gardeners would be available for that. Like I said, we have disease and pest management options, and we can act as a educational liaison between the gardeners and the city, and we want to be involved. I have Master Gardeners. Master Gardeners, I don't know if you know, are Cornell volunteers that are, it's a neighbor-to-neighbor helping program, and the Master Gardeners have a hotline. They staff 3 days a week and answer gardening questions. We also go to farms and festivals and fairs, and we answer questions. And we have a demonstration garden in Stoney Hill, Stonebridge, at the college. But it's a demonstration garden that doesn't have any vegetables in it, so we're excited about having a demonstration garden here. And we can help you design your plot, and they're all volunteers. Go ahead. Why community gardens? Because the food is healthy. It's like organic food that you don't have to pay a whole lot for. Community gardens also provide opportunities for you to meet your neighbors And you can learn from other gardens and share tips and recipes. And you can also grow traditional, non-traditional crops that perhaps you can't find in the supermarkets. Although I know Kingston has quite a few interesting and beautiful supermarkets that have a lot of different kinds of food, but it's an opportunity for you to grow that crop that perhaps you remember when you were a child. The benefits. Urban agriculture, I didn't realize this, is 3 to 5 times more productive than regular gardening, which means you can grow it better and it's much more productive because you can keep an eye on it. When the farmer has a whole bunch of corn that suddenly gets pest and it's out in the middle of the field, he doesn't know about it, but you see a pest on your tomato plant, you can pull it right off. So you're much more productive. And it increases the consumption of fresh local produce, and that's one of the best ways. So some of the benefits that we've been thinking about is that I was talking to Pam before. There's going to be some extra space in the garden, and once we get up and going, we might discuss what we want to do with that. Maybe put in some picnic tables so that we can have some potlucks. Maybe have some green play, a space for the kids to play. And we'd like that to be decided by the group of people that are going to be holding the plots and gardening right there. It can be a very nice community-based organization. And so that's all I think about community gardens, and we just want to know, go ahead. See, so this is a community garden in the middle of the city, which is kind of what we got right here.
That's huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was big.
Yeah.
So we hope you will join the garden, and to that end, I'm going to pass around applications. There are 2 parts. The top part you can read and sign, and then the bottom part you can take off, and those are the rules and regulations. No? So, I don't have agenda in front of me.
Can I have another one just for a moment?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to ask
My
if
neighbor's
there's
away, so I'm gonna get.
any questions, or, yes?
Donna, you said that, what's it,
I
3
need another
weeks?
one.
The soil is
My
gonna be-
neighbor's away.
Well, no, in the next few weeks. I'm hoping, I don't know the timing on this.
Because the reason why I inquired was I spoke to Johnny Scott today.
Yes,
He said that he would like to get in, if he could here as soon as possible.
That's what he
Weed
said.
mats in and everything else, so if you
Right.
could let me know so that we can coordinate it with him.
yep.
Because his goal is to have these folks be able to.
I want them to
plan.
farm tomorrow.
Correct. So they have something coming in for late summer and fall.
Absolutely.
So you'll keep us apprised as to that?
Absolutely. I'm hoping next week. We talked to Herzog's today. And,
You spoke to Brad at Herzog's today?
yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
So the contracts are there. Does anybody have any questions? We can turn the light back on. It's so hot here.
A lot better than it was.
Yeah. Thank you. So,
I actually have a question.
Sure.
I live across the street, so the garden
It's
is
from
right
Mary
across
Street.
from my house. And my question is the fence, the fence is beautiful, but is it gonna stay up? Because
Yes.
someone kept taking
Yes.
panels off.
That was.
And now they're broken.
yes.
That was
And it
Maria.
was, yeah, I know. But that, I was just wondering, because it did get overgrown, and there for a little while it was a little bit of an eyesore, because it
Yes.
had broken chairs and
Yeah.
things in it, instead of just,
Because it
you know.
was.
Looks pretty good now,
I
right?
Yes,
think,
it does.
I think the
Yeah.
fence will be maintained, going forward, and that was part of the reason that it was erected, was to, so that the gardens don't always, even under the best of circumstances, gardens don't always look at their top.
Oh, no,
Those pictures
no,
were
it
taken
wasn't.
Sometimes
right
there's
after they weeded.
weeds and things like
Yeah.
that,
It's
or
just
the
like,
plants
yeah,
die.
yeah,
it's
no,
not
those
being
things
part of
weren't
the
even the
weed.
issue.
But any
So-
repairs,
Yeah, we're talking
though, the
about
city
broken
would be
Yeah.
responsible for the fence in response to their
Going
question.
forward,
Going
the city
forward.
would be responsible for the
But
repairs.
talking to Johnny today, the concern was is that there was people planting on the outskirts of the fence. And I'm assuming that that's not acceptable. You plant
To
inside.
stay within your
Within
plot.
your plot.
Within
So
your
that's going to
plot.
be an issue that the master gardener is going to have to deal with
Yes.
one individual particularly.
Right.
And if you need help from the city, then we'll address it accordingly.
We've actually
Thank you.
measured, we have weed barrier that's going to go down between the plots the way they're set up
Oh,
now.
very nice.
And it's been measured and
Very
fitted.
nice.
And then with all the mulch that was taken
Actual
off,
garden.
the mulch will go back down. And that will cover all the areas between the plots.
And it won't be holes.
And there's no, oh, you should see, it's beautiful.
Well, because as you say, the Mary Street people, as we were talking yesterday, Linda and I and Johnny today, they have access if they sign up. It's just not for, because it's on city property, so definitely if there's a problem with the fencing or what have you there, and it's from people who aren't here at this complex, then we have to know.
Yeah, and that's part of, I think, being part of the community garden. The space is yours, all of yours, once you sign up, and you know, you don't want it to be destroyed.
No,
so if you see
you didn't
something
want it.
happening, you want to make a phone call. You don't want to just, you know, sit silently, because then you don't have a community garden land if it gets destroyed. So you do want to let, I think there's contact information on the contract.
And there
For
was
the
contact,
city?
my contact information was on the flyers that you got,
Oh, okay.
but
So-
I coordinate the master gardeners and my volunteers, but I feel like I work for them.
And currently, the Department of Park and Recreation is managing the garden. They are the entity in the city with the help of the Department of Public Works and all under the undersight of the mayor, so, or oversight, I'm
No,
sorry.
you Public
Oversight
Works,
of the mayor.
Water Department,
Yeah,
and then the brewer office stepped up, and that's, I just want
Yes,
to make
they've
sure
been
what their role
volunteering.
is the next in the time frame, so I can speak to Herzog's tomorrow and then coordinate that with John, because he wants to get in here.
Yeah.
Really like getting in a day or two.
Oh, I would too. I would too. There's a lot, it is July, but there's still, I put gardens in July. There's still a lot of things you can get in. Probably not watermelon unless the plants are really big. Corn grows fast. Beans grow fast. Tomato plants do very well. This is a beautiful site. You have full sun. I live in Olive Ridge in the woods. You know, I watch with this rain, I watch my plants shrink. And then, you know, what you're going to have down here is going to be gorgeous. So.
do remember that the date that's on the contract of June 15th, you have to have something planted, is not for this
July.
year. Even July 15th is probably going to fluctuate a little bit because the soil
This
has
is our
to
first year.
come. That's only a week away.
Yep.
We're very lenient
We're going
this
to be
year.
flexible this year.
Okay. So much more flexible this year. Those dates will be important next year. So just getting a garden off the ground this year is going to be great.
So if you wanted to fill out your application tonight, we'll certainly accept it.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah,
said,
you can.
there's two pieces here. The first side is the first piece of paper is the application contract, and the second piece is just the rules
Anybody
with
wants a
contact
pen?
information on that. If you want to take it with you, so you can take it with you.
It doesn't work, just so you know. It looks like a marker, that's it.
I'm really excited about this project. I have Cecilia to thank for finding the spot. What?
I was just wondering if I can get an application.
Absolutely. She came to our Healthy Kingston for Kids almost in tears and said, I have found the spot. It is full sun, it is flat, it is beautiful. So it's very nice to have it finally come to fruition. And I showed her pictures. I was down Monday after it was tilled, and I showed her pictures, and she started to cry. It just looks so pretty. So I hope that you all come, garden, and I don't have any Master Gardener cards with me, but I will make my information accessible to you. I work for Cornell. I know too much about gardening. Sometimes I wish I had a delete key for all those strange things that people ask me about gardening, but I'm available. So thank you. Anybody else need to say anything?
No, I'm just glad that it's going to be organized and it's not going to be a bunch of malarkey.
This is the new beginning
Yes.
for Rondout Community
Amen.
Gardens. Yes.
Going forward, like next year, now that we, have like a system in place, organized and everything, I seem to remember when I moved in here that on the flyer in the office, the main office, was some things about like organized activities for children in
Yes.
garden. Will that be something that's featured like next year?
Yeah,
or
I think that we could work to organize that. 4-H is part of Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Right.
And it would be wonderful to have a 4-H gardening club right here in Community Garden. You know,
Okay.
right here in the Community
So how do
Garden.
we go about establishing that?
What? You tell me an interest, and you're interested, so I'll find the information.
Well, because the
Right
kids,
on
we have a lot of
application.
kids that are
You
really
do.
interested
You
in
do.
in doing
Yes.
that sort of
Yes.
stuff.
Like my daughter was in 4-H this past school year, and
Right.
she's going to the junior naturalist program like this.
Oh,
It's really,
And these
Yeah.
kids, and they really like doing it.
Yeah.
That's what's important.
they
What you
have
can do
fun.
too is you can do
Yeah.
on site, is it your idea or is it a good idea to have space there?
For them.
children's
We'll
space.
get the city, we'll get tables, we'll put picnic tables.
Well, that's what we were
tables
thinking,
there.
picnic tables and space for the
Be a nice
kids.
place where everyone can get together when they're over checking their
Right.
crop out, whatever.
Yeah, that'd be
I
awesome.
agree.
That's a good idea.
I don't have any little kids, but there are a lot of little kids around.
Well, I think we'll certainly hook you up with 4-H, and 4-H relies on volunteer leaders, and really, maybe one of you might.
I had master gardeners who are very interested in teaching children. They're working, I have some master gardeners right now, we're working with BOCES Head Start and teaching a garden, and they're teaching 3 and 4-year-olds how to garden, and they're having a blast. The master gardeners as well as the children. So,
Sounds great.
thank you so much for coming.
Done
We
with
have
your
the applications, so take
You
them.
want to keep the one card?
Keep
the
it on.
card with that, you get that part. Thank you. Very much.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm not familiar with the area. So what exactly is 4-H?
4-H is it's a youth organization. The H's are heart, head, health, I never remember the last, hands. It was started as a farming to deal with the farm kids. And it's sort of progressed into a people's program. I was involved with 4-H a few years ago, and I was amazed because it's usually run by families, volunteers, parent volunteers, and they get together a few times a week or a few times a month. And if it's farming, they sometimes raise chickens or rabbits, but if it's inner city, they have a lot of technology groups, and it's just groups of kids. Our office has information. I'm not sure the number of the clubs. I know there's
About 35.
about 35 clubs in Ulster County, and there are some here in Kingston, and there are some garden-based ones, but there's animal-based ones where the kids, pocket pets, they call them, hamsters, and even goldfish, and chameleons and things like that. But they also have craft clubs. They have technology clubs because that's getting really big with the kids. So there's a lot of resources. Our office, unfortunately, I didn't bring any cards. Do you have any cards?
I have,
Yeah,
cards.
I'll give them out.
Absolutely. So I heard a lady say that there's a Girl Scout troop that meets here.
Yeah.
So, all collaborations are encouraged, 4-H and Girl Scouts, the mission is the same. So, we would love for your troop to be involved in the garden.
As well. I mean, there's even, if we get some picnic tables there's a meeting space.
Yeah.
Not here, but
Yeah,
the
they
weather
get a
gets
little
better.
warm in here in the
Yeah,
summer.
yeah, go outside. Yeah.
Somebody who had magically got a key to that air conditioner.
Yeah.
You're like my favorite person here.
Here's my application, and I have my neighbors, so she won't be back until
And someone
next
called
week.
my office today and gave me an application over the phone. So
Okay.
that's fine.
So,
Like I said, we have 20 plots to start and we can build 10 more.
Okay, so I'll just hold this for
Where
her,
do
and
these
then
get
when...
mailed back to?
Give them or they get mailed to the address at the bottom.
Okay.
I don't know if there's an address, but you can mail them back to, right here,
Yes, on the back.
Parks,
right there.
Oh, okay.
one back.
Oh, thanks.
Any other questions?
Yeah, it's under my phone.
No, and then if there's anybody else that we happen to see that as a neighbor and they didn't or forgot about the meeting or something like that, just contact Parks Recreations.
You could, yes, you
Can
can
I give her an
contact,
application?
yeah, absolutely. You can contact
Anybody
Parks
want an
and Rec,
extra?
You can take an application.
Yeah, I'll hold a couple
And
extra.
Cecilia is going to give you her card from Cooperative Extension. She also works for Creating Healthy Places, and she'll hook you up.
This way.
They not have
So
one.
people
card.
still
I
have-
have one.
Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, you should.
I'm going to buy them.
But you should.
And they live close, I can walk around down here.
Right.
Huh?
I have dates too. in case
Since it's
anybody-
gonna be
Like,
nice now.
Should definitely do something with the kids though.
Absolutely. I love
I
that
think
idea.
the kids are more into it than a lot of the adults.
So if you'd like a number for Cornell, I've got my business card here, just take one, pass them on.
Yeah,
The number's the
kids are-
same when you get the switchboard. You
Well, they
just
ain't
ask
taking
for
my
the
spot.
person. And I'm happy to help
Love
you.
the spot. No, I looked up with the kids.
Oh, no, we don't have an area for kids.
Oh, yeah,
There's
okay.
nothing, there's
Definitely.
nothing but kids here.
That's what I said, yeah.
You know,
I agree. I agree. Like I said, I coordinate the Master Gardener program, and every 2 years we do a Master Gardener training. And part of the training, the orientation is, when that's all done, we all sit and we talk about, we go through the whole group, how did we get involved in gardening? And every single person says, my grandmother, my father, and so that's where the kids learn. And you're right, so I definitely will plans and things for children. It's just so much fun. My grandson gardens with me, and he's learning so much by gardening. He knows a weed. You know, he knows what a weed looks like
They're
now.
very curious.
And they're curious. So, thank you so much for coming. If there's no more questions,
Thank you.
I'll end the
Thank you.
meeting and we can go and cool off.
There you go. Thought I had enough to
Or
go around.
outside.